Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. So the topic we're going to get into today is going to be a little bit touchy, and it's going to be something that a lot of people can relate to, but then some people may not know anything about. It might be very enlightening for them. And this is going to be how today's courts do or enact modern day slavery through the court system when it comes to the family dynamic. And I know a few people who are going through this kind of stuff right now, and the stuff that they inform me of is extreme in terms of how things kind of go. So we're going to jump into this. So what does that really mean when I say that, modern day slavery? What I mean by that is that the level of control without checks and balances that the court system has is astronomical. When it comes to things like separation, child support, things of that sort. At the end of the day, especially as a man, because this affects more men than it does women at all. So we're going to come from that standpoint. A man, his biggest, I guess you could say, motivation, his reason for being, his existence is his kids. That's going to be the case all the time, because he's a man. It takes a lot for a man to build a family. It doesn't come easy. A guy cannot just walk down the street and say, hey, I want a family, point at a girl and say, I want you to be with me, and it just happens like that. It doesn't work like that. Now, for a lot of women, they have the ability to at least somewhat do that. They walk around and say, I want to sleep with someone. They can sleep with someone. They want to get pregnant. They can make that happen. They put the effort. 9 times out of 10, they'll be able to try to have a family with someone. Granted, they might have to deal with certain things with certain people, certain BS, some guys stepping out, this and that. The point is, they still are in control of having that family if they want to, depending on how strict they want to be. A guy has to do a lot of hoops to create a family, and so maintaining that family is very hard. So when a guy goes about creating his family, and then he loses his family and he doesn't get along with the person, the courts are able to, with no reason, no justification, no anything, the woman can just say, she almost doesn't have to say anything, but the woman can say that I don't feel he should be around his kids. I feel that he is dangerous. And they're not going to ask for any kind of proof. They're not going to ask for anything. They're just going to go, okay. They're going to put in place certain things that then push the father away. And he has no control. Essentially, when you have no control of your life and someone else has control of your life in every single way of that specific area of your life, you are a slave. It doesn't matter how it's viewed. So, for example, they can do things like create an order of protection, issue that you're no longer able to see your kids. So now they just took your kids away from you, and you can never see your kids again. That in itself is a form of slavery. Your inability to raise your own kids, not only just from them taking them away from you, but your influence. In addition to that, now you don't have a word, you don't have a say, you don't have the ability to provide knowledge to your children in any way. They also then will take your money. Taking your money from you, now making it where you are working but not getting paid, because a substantial amount of your money is being removed from you, sometimes upwards of like 40% of your money. Don't get fooled to where they'll say smaller percentages. At the end of the day, I know of people who are losing half their check depending on how many kids that they had. And so it's a lot of money. And in that case, it's also another form of slavery. You're working, but you aren't actually able to utilize your money, not only for the way you want to, but not at all. So for that reason, that is also a form of slavery. In addition, sometimes guys will get things like supervised visits with their children. I know people who are going through that. With that, you're being monitored to where they'll tell you what you can and can't say. They would tell you, don't tell your kids the reason that this is going on. Don't tell your kids that there is a chance that you will get past this. Don't tell them that there's hope that it'll go back to some kind of normal level where they see you. Don't talk to them about anything relating to what's going on. Don't talk to anything about protecting your name either, to say this is not your fault. Just smile and be happy. At that point, you are completely a slave in front of your kids, because you're not allowed to do anything. And if you say anything, you now lose access to your kids. It's almost like those sci-fi movies where people have a collar around their neck, or some kind of electric wristband, and the moment they do something, it's like you're getting shocked. So that is what it's like today. That the courts can instill modern day slavery, and it's the one area in our how should I say this, our economic world, our government world, our professional world, whatever you want to label it, our society, our civilized society, is the one aspect that has not been touched by any kind of checks and balance. So where you have certain things where you'll have, and these other checks and balance may not work all that perfect, but at least there's supposed to be a system in place for, say, if you work at your job, you're being harassed, there's like, equal employment opportunity areas or human resources or whatever the case is, one of those kind of departments that you can call to try to, establish some kind of level of fairness, even if you got to go outside of the realm of your job or whatever the case is, or, someone's harassing you on the street, you can call the police, you can do this. There's all these kind of things you can do. In the realm of the court, you cannot do anything. You cannot get a judge in trouble for being biased. You cannot do anything about the favoritism where you have lawyers who are speaking amongst each other and they know the judge and they're doing plans behind your back. You can't do anything about that. There's nothing you can do. There's no checks and balance for that, because there is an aspect of the system that wants to destroy families. So with that being said, they take away that right. You can't stop them on it. They get absolute say so, and they're able to control your life in that aspect. And that becomes a large part of your life, because I just stated in the beginning of the video, since your sole purpose is about your family and your kids, for a man specifically, then what happens is you've now lost the majority of the reason that you exist. That 90% of the reason why you exist is for your kids and your family. The other percent maybe is for yourself or for dreams or aspirations, whatever the case is, but it all kind of really comes back to your family that you've built and your kids. So when they control that, they control 90% of your life. You essentially are a slave at that point, and it's almost impossible to get out of it, which is why it will last until your kids are like 18 years old. But a lot of times, if you yourself are, say, 30 years old, at that point, that means roughly about 20 years of your life, you are a slave to this system that you cannot get out of. You have no control over. You have no influence over your kids either. You can just sit back and be a slave in that regards. You lose money. Your kids get influenced by someone else. And the courts have influence over your kids as well, because they know and will make sure that that person that you are with falls in line with what their agenda is. This is also the reason why sometimes when you do have women who might come to the senses and try to work things out with a man, if the court's already involved, they'll try, and I've heard stories of this, they'll try to say to the woman, "You sure you don't want to get child support? We can get you a lot of child support. You don't need to work that out with the man." And they'll go, "No, I don't want him to pay that kind of child support. We have our thing worked out, our own system worked out." The courts will literally say, "No, but we can get you more. Trust me, we could do this." And they're trying to have that influence on how your kid is raised by making the woman hate you more if they don't already hate you, and then shaping that. So I just wanted to put out that concept to know that this is exactly what it is, and give it a name, a face to what it is, and state it for what it is. It is a form of modern day slavery that the courts do without bias, with no impunity. There's no anything. They can do whatever they want, and there's nothing that can be done about it. If you guys have any comments about that kind of subject, put them down below. As always, you guys like, share, comment, subscribe, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.